Hello, my name is Mercedes. I am a lawyer and I work as a representative in Mexico for All Godchildren International. This is an overview of the process in adoption in this country.
This video is directed to people seeking for an adoption in Mexico, and it contains important information to consider while adopting in this country. Mexico signed the Hague Convention, and we follow its guidelines, as well as other international treaties to protect children. International adoptions in Mexico can only be done throughout DIF. DIF is the only central authority. This government organization operates nationwide, and every state in Mexico has a DIF state office. DIF is also in charge of providing care and protection to children that suffer abuse and those who don't have legal guardians. These kids remain in public institutions called albergues. When the state does not have a public facility, they will use nonprofit and private-run shelters. Foster care in Mexico is not like in the USA. Children with no family to take care of them are secluded in these institutions until they are 18 years old. The only alternative for these children to have a family again is through adoption. In addition to taking care of children, DIF set the guidelines and requirements for adoptions, and it's in charge of assigning those kids for people who are eligible. But who can adopt in Mexico? There are 3 basic requirements that most states have for people who want to adopt. Applicants can be single or married, but prospective parents must be over 25 years of age and at least 17 years older than the child. Applicants should demonstrate that they have financially capabilities of taking care of children, with evidence such as, but not limited to, job letters, pay stubs, pictures from their home in the U.S., etc. Applicants should also be prepared to present information to confirm their moral qualities and employment status. Prospective parents must demonstrate the means to support the physical, emotional, and educational needs of the children. This includes psychological evaluations, home study, recommendation letters, criminal background check, and others. Because Mexico is part of the Hague Adoption Convention, children from this country must meet the requirements of the convention in order to be eligible for adoption. DIF is the only central authority for adoption in Mexico, and they only work with authorized agencies. This is very important. If you want to adopt in Mexico, you need to make sure that your agency is authorized by DIF. If not, even if you are able to adopt and a judge grants the adoption in a court, the process will fail at the moment of trying to take the child out of the country. Only a civil or family judge in a court proceeding can determine if a child has been abandoned or relinquished. Public notaries are not authorized to make determinations of abandonment or relinquishment, and all private international adoptions are prohibited. Children 5 years and older are available for intercountry adoption. DIF, in its discretion, may place a child under the age of 5 if the child has a physical or mental disability, suffers from a disease that is costly to treat, or it's part of a sibling group involved with children older than 5 who are also being adopted. Sibling adoptions are encouraged by DIF, and adoptions of children with special needs or medical conditions. Now you have the basics. You know who can adopt and who can be adopted. As you can see, adoption in Mexico is restricted to a very particular group. People trying to adopt older children or willing to receive a child with disabilities or a group of siblings will have more chances to adopt, and they will probably get an adoption faster. Now, let's talk about the process. The adoption process in Mexico has 4 stages: the application process, the assignation process, the judicial process, and the process to bring your child into U.S. The timeline for adoption is not precise. It is just an approximation. Time changes upon several factors that we cannot control. For example, the location where the adoption will happen, vacation time and holidays for government officials involved in the process, mailing services and times in post offices, and others. The application process. It is very consuming and emotionally draining. However, we will provide advice and help for you, so don't be afraid. You're not alone. If you choose to adopt from Mexico, personnel from the agency will retrieve important information about you and your family. This information will help us to advocate for your case with Mexican authorities and choose what state you want to adopt from. Unless you have a preference for a particular place, we will use the information about your family to find out in which of the 31 states that Mexico has it is more convenient for you to initiate the process. I will send letters and contact state authorities to provide them with the general information about your dossier. In the meanwhile, you will go over the process to gather documentation and finish your home study and psychological evaluation. By the time you finish that process, I will provide you with recommendations about where to send your application. You will be able to make a decision and choose a state. Once dossier is complete, translation and certification will only take about 4 to 6 weeks. Sending dossier to Mexico takes only about 1 week, but it won't be processed immediately. It will take another 20 business days for Mexican authorities to send your file to National DIF. They will review the dossier and send it to the state that you choose. After that, we will wait for a child assignation. Child assignation. Sending your dossier to Mexico does not mean that you will automatically have a child placed with your family. This stage depends entirely upon Mexican authorities. Mexican authorities have a team of professionals, psychologists, social workers, and lawyers that check if the traits of the couple are compatible with the needs of their children. If they find a match, they propose an assignation to the Council of Adoption. In every state, the Council of Adoption works in a different way. The council is integrated with several government officials. In some states, even the governor gets involved in the process. Because of the people that integrate the Council of Adoption are usually high-ranked government officials, they do not gather very often, and this can delay the process. As I mentioned before, the process changes a little bit in every state. This is just a generic overview. If council approves assignation, you will be informed about the characteristics of the child and they schedule a match meeting. If child assigned and you have a good match, judicial process will start immediately. Remember, in Mexico, adoption is definitive and once complete, there is no way back. Children are not chosen and people cannot return them. And that's why applicants have to face such a detailed scrutiny. In the judicial process, DIF and your lawyer will go to the judge to convince him that the adoption is in the best interest of the child. The judge will approve the adoption and we will be able to change the name of your child. Now, in his or her birth certificate, you will appear as a parent. With this document and the final decree, we can go and get a new passport for your child and start working on bringing him back into US. This is the last stage of the process. Bringing your child into US will be very fast and it will require just some administrative paperwork. Remember, you will have to provide a post-adoptive inform every 6 months for 2 years until child is 16 years old. This was just an overview of the process. I hope you find it useful. For more information or if you want to ask questions, please don't hesitate. Call or email All God Children International. Thank you.